What happens when the genius of Tony Stark meets the discipline of Bruce Wayne? What if Iron Man built a suit for Batman? At first glance, they're worlds apart. Tony is a futurist. He thrives on innovation, always chasing the next upgrade. Bruce is a strategist. He relies on precision, control, and preparation. But both share one thing. They are men among gods. No powers, no alien gifts, just willpower, intellect, and technology. So imagine the moment Stark decides to design armor for Batman. The foundation of the suit would be Stark tech. Lightweight nanotech alloys, stronger than titanium, but flexible like fabric. It would form around Bruce in seconds, responding to thought commands. No more bulky bat armor, no slow assembly. This suit would move like a second skin. But Tony knows Batman isn't Iron Man. Bruce doesn't want to be seen. He thrives in the shadows. So unlike Stark's bright red and gold armor, this design would be matte black, absorbing light, bending sound, cloaking itself from sensors. It wouldn't just protect, it would disappear. Inside, Stark would load the suit with AI support, a cousin of JRVIS, designed for tactical support, not sarcasm. But Bruce would not surrender control. He'd demand the AI stay silent unless asked, keeping the human edge in every fight. And then the weapons. This wouldn't be Stark's arsenal of missiles and repulsors. Batman doesn't kill, so the suit would adapt. Grappling hooks fired from the gauntlets, EMP blasts to shut down tech, sonic disruptors to scatter enemies, and non-lethal stun systems. Every tool designed to end a fight fast without ending lives. But here's where the story gets interesting. Because this partnership wouldn't just be about tech. It would be about philosophy. Tony believes in power displayed. Bruce believes in power restrained. So whose vision would truly shape the Bat-Iron suit? Now imagine Gotham under the shadow of this new Bat-Iron suit. Criminals who once feared the cape and cowl now face something more. A presence that is not just terrifying. It is unstoppable. A figure that can glide across rooftops with thrusters, vanish into the dark with cloaking, and strike with precision beyond human limits. For Bruce, the suit is a weapon of efficiency. Every mission becomes faster, every fight shorter. The technology amplifies his training, turning a human into something close to superhuman. But with every victory, a question grows louder. Is Batman still the same? Tony designed the armor to empower, but Bruce bends it toward control. The suit becomes a ghost. Heat signatures fade. Heartbeats silence. No one sees Batman coming until it is too late. To Gotham's underworld, it feels less like a man and more like a specter. Yet Bruce knows the danger. Power can corrupt. Dependence can weaken. So he sets limits. He refuses to rely on repulsors or lethal tech. He locks out Stark's more aggressive upgrades, choosing restraint over excess. But restraint comes at a cost. Because enemies evolve too. Villains like Bane, Deathstroke, even the Court of Owls see the change in Batman's methods. And they begin to prepare. If Gotham's Dark Knight now wields Stark technology, then Gotham's enemies will chase their own upgrades. An arms race begins in the shadows. And then there's Tony. He watches from afar, curious and unsettled. He sees Bruce using the armor in ways he never intended. Not as a beacon, but as a shadow. Not to inspire, but to terrify. The two men clash not in fists, but in ideology. Tony argues that power should shine, that heroes must lead openly. Bruce answers that Gotham isn't the world. In Gotham, shadows save more lives than spotlights. And as their philosophies grind against each other, the Bat-Iron suit becomes more than armor. It becomes a battleground of belief. Is it Stark's vision? Or Bruce's? And what happens when the balance tips too far toward either side? The Bat-Iron suit was meant to be an upgrade. A tool. A way to sharpen Batman's edge against the endless tide of Gotham's darkness. But soon, the line began to blur. Bruce found himself relying on the armor more than he wanted. Fights that once tested his endurance now ended in seconds. Enemies who once pushed him to his limits now fell with ease. The thrill of struggle, the measure of man versus chaos, was vanishing. And in its place was something dangerous. Certainty. For a man like Batman, certainty is a trap. Because Gotham's greatest weapon has never been his strength. It has been his will. The grit to rise when broken. The defiance to fight without powers in a world full of gods. But with Stark's armor, that struggle faded. And with it, perhaps, a piece of Bruce Wayne. The turning point came when Gotham faced its deadliest storm yet. The League of Shadows returned, led by a new heir of Ra's al Ghul. They had studied Batman, watched his evolution, and now they came armed with weapons built to counter Stark's design. Vibranium-forged blades. EMP fields tuned to short-circuit the Batiron systems. Even assassins enhanced with stolen tech from Stark's rivals. For the first time, the armor failed him. In the middle of battle, Bruce was forced out of the suit. Exposed. Vulnerable. Human again. And yet, it was here, in his rawest, most fragile state, that Batman proved who he truly was. No suit. No AI. No Stark technology. Just fists, strategy, and willpower. He survived. He won. And in that victory, he remembered, Batman is not the armor. Batman is the man. After the battle, Bruce made his choice. He did not destroy the Batiron suit, but he locked it away, deep in the cave. A reminder. A symbol of what he could become if he let the machine define him. Tony understood. He saw in Bruce the one thing he himself often lacked, discipline. Where Tony embraced the armor as part of his identity, Bruce resisted it, keeping it at arm's length. And that resistance is what made him stronger. Because in the end, the Batiron suit was not the story of what Batman became. It was the story of what he refused to become. A man defined by power. A hero blinded by certainty. A god who forgot his humanity. Instead, Batman chose the harder path. To stay mortal. To bleed. To hurt. To rise without shortcuts. And that choice is why, even in a world of Iron Men, Kryptonians, and gods of thunder, Batman still matters. Because his greatest weapon was never his suit. It was his humanity. So, what if Iron Man built a suit for Batman? The answer is simple. Batman would wear it. He would master it. But in the end, he would never let it define him. Because Gotham doesn't need an Iron Man. It needs a Dark Knight.